Welcome to another video. I've not been doing so many recently, but I am still doing them. More of a hobby than anything else. I'm not going to be, unfortunately, as consistent as I want to be, just because of the time it takes. I'm working in this environment, which is my gym, and as a personal trainer at the moment, I'm really busy. But it doesn't stop my enthusiasm and my love for cars, and I'm really fortunate enough to have this absolutely stunning 2019 Mercedes C63s, which is a V8 bi-turbo. Now again, as I always reiterate in these videos, I don't know that much about cars, but I do appreciate them and I do have a passion for them regardless. And this gorgeous looking machine, as I'm sure you'll all appreciate, in this beautiful blue, is just stunning looking and sounding cars with obviously great performance as well, with this particular C63s being just under 500 brake horsepower with a top speed from standard, I believe, 180 mile an hour, 0 to 60 about 3.9 seconds. Now again, I might be wrong about some of that, and I'm sure that people watching this will correct me in the comments. Now these Mercedes, as I said, they're a V8, they're a big lump, and this particular one is a 9-speed auto. I have driven it. I've been lucky enough to have a go in it. The owners let me loose on it a little bit, and yeah, it's got some, obviously got some power. It's got some meat behind it. In a minute, we'll have a little look round and talk about it in a bit more depth. But for now, you know, I just want to admire the front of this because they look mean, don't they? They look fat. They've got very flared arches on them with, I believe, 20-inch wheels on the back and maybe slightly smaller, maybe 19s on the front. But it just has a lovely stance about it. And up close, this paintwork has just got a nice little, almost kind of glitter in it. It's absolutely stunning. The owner always looks after his cars, always cleans them thoroughly, weekly, polishes them, looks after it as you should, which puts me to shame because I can be quite lazy in that respect, even though I obviously love my cars. So, you know, the main topic is obviously the car here, but the reason I do these videos is also to touch on men's mental health as well. Hence, you know, the title of the videos with men's motors and mental health, because both are something that I'm really passionate about and something dear to my heart. And we'll talk about both as we walk around the car and have a look. So without further ado, let's have a little look around this in a bit more detail. So I was right about the fronts being 19s and the rears being 20. Obviously, as always, we've got these huge calipers and these drilled and grooved discs that are obviously going to be having to stop quite a lot of power there. As we say, it's just shy of 500 brake horsepower. And we've got the nice black rims there with the outer rim obviously being silver, which I think set this car up really nice. They're slightly set back as well, so they're a deeper dish kind of style, and they look absolutely fantastic on this, particularly with this blue, which I keep raving on about. Absolutely fantastic. So alongside the car, obviously, we talk about mental health, particularly in men, and There's a big topic at the moment for me that is in regards to medication, and medication being something that for a lot of people seems to be necessary, and sometimes it is. But my issue with it is how many people are medicated with antidepressants, for example, but are just left to it. Now, I'm speaking from experience when I've been on antidepressants for a long period of time, and not anymore because I've decided to come off them in the controlled way. But for 5-6 years, not one review, not one contact from GPs or any medical professional to see how I'm doing with that. Now, it's not just on my own experience. There's a lot of people that I've spoken to involved with Mental UK who have gone to the doctors. They've spoken about feeling pretty low, upset, angry, mixture of emotions, and without hesitation, they've been put on medication. Yes, they have a choice to say no, but you're talking to a doctor. You're talking to someone who you put trust in. So you think, right, okay, I'll have that medication. Prescribe me the medications. They're going to make me feel good. They're going to make me feel better. That's going to make my life improve. And yeah, in terms of a chemical imbalance in the brain, those medications that you take will help. Some people need them. I needed them. But for how long for? And does that resolve any underlying issues? Well, no, of course it doesn't. Because talking is going to be the key to trying to unpick a lot of that. And when you go into the GP, and again, I'm speaking from my personal experience, but also someone I've spoken to very recently, talking therapy wasn't something that they suggested. He did say that he had our organisation, Mental UK, to go to, and they said that's great. But in terms of longer term therapy on a one-to-one basis, that wasn't something that was spoken about or suggested. Reason being, let's be honest, there's probably an 18-month, 2-year waiting list for that. Anything can happen in that time, you know. It's not good enough, is it? And this is my massive gripe at the moment, is who is gonna, or who can wait that long when actually at that moment in time, they are feeling like they're struggling. They're feeling like their world is ending. So how can someone wait that long when they need the help now? Luckily for some of these people locally and in other areas, you know, there's our organisation. In other areas, there are other organisations. You know, they're charities, they're CICs, community interest companies like our own. But if these things weren't available, people are going to GPs, getting medicated and just being left. And not everyone knows about what other organisations are out there. And it's just a case of, right, off you go, you're medicated, tick, off you go. So how long do you leave these people to be medicated? Yes, as an adult, you could go and approach your GPs for, you know, letting them know how you're doing and etc. But they're the ones saying for you to go on the medication. They've got a responsibility to care for you. They should be contacting you for regular reviews. This is a massive problem, particularly in the UK and particularly for men. Obviously, I'm not dismissing that with women, but with men, suicide rates ever increasing and being a massive problem with men, particularly under the age of 40. It's a huge, huge problem where medication is seen as the only thing that's going to be something that can be offered. Whereas talking therapy, if you can go private and afford it, which many people can't, then yeah, that's great. But as I said, not everyone can do that. Not everyone can afford that. So if an organisation locally isn't available, if you don't know about that, then it is just a case of being left on medication. And that, in my opinion, just puts a little sticky plaster over it, which can in some cases cause more problems, because if that's not regularly reviewed and looked after, people can go very up and down in terms of their consistency of taking that medication, which can do a lot more harm than good. Yes, I repeat that you can take responsibility as an adult yourself and go back to your GP to discuss it. But as I said earlier, that the GP, the doctor's surgeries, they have a responsibility for your care. They've medicated you. But also getting into the doctors nowadays, as we know, getting through to the doctors sometimes is just enough to tip someone over the edge. And that's a real problem in this country, massive problem. So we're leaving thousands upon thousands of people to be medicated who are not reviewed regularly. We don't know what they're doing in terms of taking it regularly or not, despite getting repeat prescriptions. You don't know what they're actually doing. Why isn't this being looked at more? Something that I really want to look more into and take on, because it worries me. And as someone who's been subjected to that, it scares me dearly about thousands. I'd love to know, but I'm, probably tens of thousands of people in this country who are just left to take medication, powerful medication as well. And as I say, some may be doing more harm than good. So we're going to have a little look inside this beast. And I do like the little silver touches where there's not too much of it, but door handles, which obviously match the wheels. And then as you get in, careful not to bang it on my equipment. Squeeze my fat ass in here. And you've got this lovely carbon center console here. And again, those little silver touches that are quite common in Mercedes. Your seat settings there. And as I always feel in a lot of these cars, they're a great place to be when you're held in by these beautiful seats that I think, for me, are the most comfortable I've sat in. I've sat in the M4 seats, M4 competition seats. I find them too hard. These, a little bit softer. Don't feel like my bum is as deep. Yes, you can adjust that, but I feel these have got a little bit more comfort about them. This model as well has got the panoramic roof, as we can see through there, which is lovely. For me, one of the nicest cars I've sat in. Genuinely is. Like most cars, with this one has got a 9-speed box on it. Got your paddles as normal. Lovely steering wheel, like that. Bigger than I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be a bit smaller, this steering wheel. But yeah, it's a really comfortable place to be. And you can see the bulges, the bonnet bulges there. You can just see them, I think. And I really like them. Again, it adds to that aggressive stance. You see that in your mirror with those little bulges there, the flared arches, nice and low, beautiful. I like it. I like it a lot. So this gentleman here is Paul, and this is his car. He is lucky enough to own this. Well, there's no luck. He's just fortunate to own such a lovely car. So what made you want to have a Mercedes in particular, and Paul?
So my previous car was a Mercedes. I've had probably the most difficult 2 years of my life, and I'm now decided that every day is going to be totally different. So why not invest in a car that has always been my dream? So I absolutely love it. It puts the biggest smile on my face every morning when I come out. So, and that's what my life's about now, if I'm honest. So,
do you mind elaborating a little bit on, you said about life's been pretty tough. I mean, obviously I know your journey, but do you mind telling us a little bit more about that?
2.5 years ago, I got diagnosed with neck cancer. While I started to go through that, my mum died. And then early last year, my marriage broke down. And then my dad died. That kind of put life in perspective for me. So life's about enjoying. I was lucky enough to find Men Talk, if I'm being totally honest. I was in a real bad place, a really bad place. And actually, I am so positive now. I'm just looking for the future, and can't wait for the very next day. I'm going to live life to its fullest.
And I think, you know, we was talking, well, I was talking earlier and about medication and people who are medicated, which some people do need. I did. Other people, you know, still need it. But how we're often just left to be medicated and not having conversations as opposed to just being medicated. And you said yourself, you know, Paul's come to our mental group and is a big part of that now. And his positivity rubs off on other people, which is brilliant. And that's what it's about. It's not just about being there and talking about people's problems. It's about celebrating successes. And Paul in particular, yes, he has his down days, but that's, you know, we all do. But it's so important to talk openly, like you are now, about how we're feeling, how good it's been, how bad it's been, and being honest about that.
Yeah, I totally get that. And yeah, we can get prescribed tablets that will certainly suppress our feelings, etc., and help us get through life. But ultimately, I think you really need to find that the only person that can get you out of that hole is you.
Yeah.
And that was a big learning curve for me.
Well, what did you think before that then? Did you think that other people would find the answers for you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I did. I thought everyone else was going to support me and be there for me and get me out of whatever I was in. Yeah. I quickly learned that the only person that can do that is me. Yeah. And
which is tough at times though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. But I think that will pave my way for the rest of my life. Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah. Really looking forward to it.
But it's about taking support that is there, but not being totally reliant on that, because the only person who can bring about that change is you.
Yeah.
And if you are coming out, you know, a divorce, an illness like you've experienced, bereavement, it's going to be tough, and you use the support, but the only person that can actually bring about any change and manage that is you.
Yeah, I'm a totally different person to I was January last year. I've learned a lot that I hadn't learned earlier in life, but I think that stands me in good stead going forwards.
Would you think it's fair to say that, you know, it's not nice to go through any of those experiences, but sometimes you have to hit that, not have to, but generally a lot of people hit that lowest part of their life to be able to come back up?
You've got two choices. You either pull yourself out of it or you sit there. And there is only one choice for me. Yeah. You've got to pull yourself out of it. Yeah. Yeah. Life is a gift. Yeah. And certainly going through cancer, I realised that quite considerably. I mean, I lost 9.5 stone in weight. So, and hence why I'm coming to your gym, because I want to get stronger. Yeah. So.
And I think, again, that's another valid point, is about, you know, not necessarily coming to my gym, but fitness and exercise. And medication, tablets that we put in our mouth are helpful. They do serve a purpose, and I would never tell anyone to stop that unless they're, you know, advised to from a medical professional. But fitness and exercise is such a powerful drug, more than we realise. And if you're not doing that, it doesn't mean you've got to go to a gym. It can be walking, it can be yoga, it can be doing a home workout, it can be, you know, walking the dog, or just getting out for a walk, you know, in surroundings that sometimes you miss that are actually there, because you get so stuck in a horrible hole where you think there's no way out. You miss these things. We're fortunate enough to have a lovely beach nearby that we often, or people often, forgets there. You know, I know people who rarely visit it, but myself and you know, we'll regularly walk down there or sit up there, because it's a nice place to be and to gather your thoughts and to just make yourself feel better with that fresh sea air in your lungs.
I think it's about investing in yourself, isn't it?
And that takes time.
Yeah. It may be a 5-minute walk, 3-minute walk, doesn't matter. Yeah. You know what I mean? You will gradually get stronger.
And build up on that, yeah. But as long as you're doing the same thing that makes you feel crap, so if you're staying in your own four walls, you're staring at the same social media, you're hating on the same people or life, nothing's going to change until you break that cycle. Yeah. And to do that, you do need to get out and get moving. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've actually said, that no 2 days are going to be the same in my life. Yeah. And they're all going to be different. and I'm looking forward to the future.
So if anyone is an advocate or encouragement for you to go and, you know, do more after shit hits the fan and things get bad, you know, Paul is that person, because mental health, cancer, loss, you know, unfortunately for Paul, he's experienced it. However, he's using it to his advantage now and pulling himself out with a little bit of support from us and others around him. So,
and that's the key, isn't it? You're not alone.
Yeah, you took the words straight out of my mouth. Yeah, 100%. You're not, but you know, when you're in that hole, as I said earlier, you think you are, and then till you broaden your horizons and look outside of that hole, it's only then that you see actually there is support there, and there, you know, it's not just about medication. Talking, hearing other people's struggles and how they've dealt with it. For me and for you, you know, that's key.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, mate. On that note, we're going to flip the bonnet and we're going to have a little look under there. Okay, so Paul is going to kindly flip the bonnet. Now, there's usually not much to look at in terms of seeing stuff, because you have a big cover over and you can't see a great deal, but we're going to have a look anyway. Neither me or Paul are mechanics or know a massive deal about cars, but again, you don't need to appreciate it. And, you know, and already you can see those turbochargers up the top there. Still feel the warmth coming off that. It's quite, I think I said before, having the turbos up the top not tucked away, that's quite a useful thing if ever they need to be worked on. And this is, I have no idea what that name means. I'm sure someone in the comment section will enlighten us. But it's huge, isn't it? It's absolutely huge, it's monstrous. And it's a lot of power to handle. And you say you're getting a little bit more used to it now, going from what, a 200 brake horsepower.
The trouble is,
to this.
It wants to keep pulling left and going into the petrol station. It's around 20 to 30 miles per gallon, so it does drink it. Yeah, but you don't buy a car like this thinking that you're going to get a high MPG for it.
Exactly that. But yeah, it's a look. You don't need to know a great deal about cars to appreciate them, and that's what, you know, people like me and Paul, we love our cars. We love talking about them, looking at them. And you might hear in the background someone revving up their motorbike as well. And it's about appreciating these things that go fast or just get us places with a smile on our face, because we appreciate what they are. So, yeah, beautiful. Love it. Thanks for bringing her in, mate.
You're welcome.